Imagine waking up in London, 2025, where the cost of a tiny apartment could buy you a mansion elsewhere, and every commute feels like a gamble with your sanity. This is the capital of the United Kingdom, an economic giant with a $500 billion economy that could rival Norway if it stood alone. For nearly 2 centuries, it's lured dreamers with high-flying finance jobs and some of Europe's biggest paychecks. But beneath the shimmer of wealth, a harsher truth festers. Right now, more than 1 in 50 Londoners are homeless, a number that soared by 50% in just a decade, crowning Britain with the grim title of the developed world's homelessness capital. While skyscrapers gleam, real wages, what you actually pocket after inflation, haven't moved in over 15 years. You're earning 2008 money in a 2025 world, where housing costs have skyrocketed and everyday essentials bite harder each year. Small wonder people are bolting. Young professionals, the lifeblood of London's future, are leaving in droves. Why? A junior professional in New York could earn double what they make here, with a cost of living only a third higher. The math doesn't lie, and neither does the frustration. Britain's National Health Service, once a point of pride, is bleeding talent. Doctors and nurses are burned out, underpaid, and fed up with crumbling conditions. Last year alone, 479,000 people waved goodbye to the UK, the highest exodus in over a decade. Here's the kicker. While skilled workers are fleeing, more people are arriving, often to tap into the UK's world-class education system. But research from 2024 shows a troubling trend. Those leaving are far more skilled than those coming in. This swap of talent for low-skilled labor is dragging down productivity, dimming the quality of goods and services, and leaving the economy stuck in the mud. So, what's driving this slow-motion crisis in one of the world's richest nations? It's about living standards, or the lack thereof. Outside London, the UK's economy would be 14% poorer, performing worse than Mississippi, the lowest-ranking US state. The gap with Europe is widening too. Back in 2007, the average UK household was just 8% behind its peers in northwestern Europe. Today, that gap is a gaping 20%. If trends hold, Slovenian and Polish families will soon outpace their British counterparts in living standards. The pain isn't evenly spread. The UK's top earners still rank among the world's elite, but the average household lags at 12th globally, and the poorest 5% scrape by at 15th. For Britain's lowest earners, life is 20% harder than for their peers in Slovenia. Public services are creaking, skilled workers are vanishing, and the promise of a better life feels like a fading dream. Why is this happening to a nation that once led the world? And why are so many turning their backs on the UK? Let's get into the forces pulling this iconic country apart and what it might take to stitch it back together. Before you move on, if you are new to this channel, please subscribe to 10-Minute Quest. It was not long ago that Britain was one of the most prosperous and attractive destinations for young, skilled talent in the world. The 1990s and 2000s were a period of economic success for Great Britain, with 60% of respondents viewing life as being better than today. This era was marked by the Cool Britannia movement and the end of the Cold War, which added to a global sense of optimism. The UK experienced its longest stretch of uninterrupted growth since the Second World War, driven by a combination of structural reforms, effective monetary policies, and favorable global conditions. The financial sector played a pivotal role in this economic success, with substantial credit expansion and property lending, driving consumer spending and investment regulatory change, making the UK an attractive place to invest. However, the UK continued to shift towards a more service-based model of employment, which did not provide the broad-based employment that the industrial sector had, causing widespread job losses in areas like heavy industry and mining jobs. Midway through the 2000s, problems began to appear, and the 2008 financial crisis exposed and exacerbated these underlying weaknesses in Britain's economic model. Today, the nation grapples with severe issues, including an overstretched national health service, a housing affordability crisis, and aging infrastructure, all stemming from past policies and requiring urgent attention to secure a sustainable future. One of the most important issues for people living in the UK right now is housing. There are not enough homes available, and those that do become unaffordable for the vast majority of the population. This has made home ownership for first-time buyers nearly impossible without an income far above the average or financial support from the so-called bank of mom and dad. The lack of housing construction has resulted in a significant supply-demand imbalance in the housing market, rooted in policies introduced in the late 1970s. The Right to Buy scheme allowed public housing tenants to buy homes at a discount, but also reduced social housing stock. As the population increases, more individuals and families turn to private rental, leading to rising rents and disproportionately affecting lower-income individuals. House prices have outstripped real wages for over 30 years, creating a larger societal divide between those who own and those who don't. The UK has seen a significant decrease in social housing households since 1980, leading to rising inequality and overcrowding in both private and social sectors. This has resulted in more households becoming homeless. Temporary housing has also declined, with the number of English households living in temporary accommodation more than doubling between 2010 and 2023. The poor conditions in these buildings, including dampness, mold, insects, and animal infestations, have led to increased dropout rates and increased spending on emergency shelters by local councils. These issues are not likely to improve soon, as shifts in the UK housing market have disproportionately disadvantaged the youth, with a significant portion of older individuals owning a second home. This change reflects broader economic trends, where stagnant wages contrast with soaring asset values, exacerbating wealth disparities. Slower economic growth also means fewer opportunities to advance one's career, impacting earnings, especially during critical early stages in the UK. Stagnant wages are largely due to dwindling productivity across the country. Since the 2008 financial crisis, the UK has faced a slowdown in productivity growth, with UK companies investing 20% less than their counterparts in the US, France, and Germany. This underinvestment has resulted in outdated technology and equipment, reduced innovation, and a shortfall in skill development across both industrial and service sectors. The NHS, established in 1948 as a publicly funded health service, has been a key factor in this decline. This is a vital part of the UK economy, providing free healthcare services to its citizens for over 70 years. The NHS has become a staple of British life, but over the last 2 decades, costs have spiraled due to declining quality of treatment and care. This is partly because the population was smaller and younger when healthcare was first introduced, meaning fewer people required healthcare. Even as taxes have risen over the last decade, public services like the NHS are struggling even more than ever. The number of people waiting for NHS consultant treatment has more than doubled from 3 million to 18 million in the last 10 years, and patients treated by the NHS for major health issues such as heart disease, strokes, or cancer have lower survival rates compared to those receiving treatment in most other developed nations. The NHS's failure is largely due to years of underfunding, despite a significant increase in funding and staff since 2019. However, rising costs due to an aging population, expensive medical technologies, rising drug prices, and demand for higher quality care make it challenging to improve services and outcomes. Health inflation has also contributed to healthcare costs. To provide adequate care for an aging population, the NHS needs to invest in long-term future projects, but there is currently insufficient funding. New projects are also more difficult and expensive to build in the UK compared to other countries. The Brexit decision has made the UK worse off than it was before, leading to a reduction of trade with the UK's largest trading partner, the EU. However, many of the hardships currently being faced by Britain are also present in other European economies. Britain's current brain crisis is caused by a host of other factors, including the desire for new opportunities and a higher quality of life. So, is the UK doomed? Not necessarily, but it is at a crossroads. A nation that once stood as a beacon of opportunity and culture now risks becoming a place people only want to leave. If you're from the UK, we want to hear from you. Are you staying, leaving, thinking about it? Why? As we peel back the layers of the UK's challenges, it's clear that the story doesn't end here. The world is witnessing a shift in urban landscapes, and New York City is no exception. Why is this iconic metropolis experiencing a decline in its once thriving population? From economic shifts to lifestyle changes, we have uncovered the forces reshaping the city that never sleeps. If you're curious about why New York City is getting emptier by the day, click on this video to discover what's happening in the heart of the Big Apple.